with your hosts, Matt and Zack. We have a very special guest today. They've been a staple of the Triangle for a long time, a member of a club that I'm a member of and I'm a big fan of, and they recently just won the state's championship for 40 plus at 4-0. Let's welcome Gabriel, and then I'm going to butcher your last name, so you go ahead.
Dichter, that's fine.
Dichter. Okay, I was in the
It's it's
ballpark.
it's great to be here. I've been a longtime fan of TTP, and when guys win the Super Bowl, they look at the camera and say, "I'm going to Disneyland." When we won states, I thought maybe I'll get invited to TTP. So this is a dream come true. This is awesome.
Right off the bat, this is amazing. But just to confirm, so you are Dr. Dichter.
Correct.
Okay. This is fun. I like that. I think that you are the highest H-index guest that we've had on yet in an area in which there are quite a few high H-index folks. Do you want to tell folks a little bit about what you do and your non-tennis background just to kick things off today?
Sure. So I'm a clinical psychologist by training. I work in the Department of Psychiatry at UNC. So as a mental health provider, I can speak to the mental health benefits of playing way too much tennis. It really sets your mind at ease. And yeah, I do research, brain imaging work, and I'm just so happy to be part of the Triangle tennis community. And as Matt said, Chapel Hill Tennis Club, we feel like the little club that could around here. So it's an awesome tennis community we have in the Triangle.
That strikes me as, I don't want to say an unfair advantage, but you can diagnose people clinically from across the net. Can you? Do you ever see a behavior pattern? You're like, wait a second, I need to hit to this guy's backhand because he's going to have a meltdown if I do.
It's not so much that, except my teammates, they come to me for sports psychology advice, and I either got to charge you or we got to just get back to playing because this is what I do in my time off. None of that.
Too funny. So what got you involved in the tennis community here? Did you play before you got to the Triangle? What's your tennis origin story?
Yeah, a million years ago back in college, I played D3 ball at Haverford College before they were as good as they are now. And then took 15 years off, started a career, had a family. And then a lot of people around here, COVID hit, clubs were having specials. I joined Chapel Tennis Club. I was right around when my kids were getting old enough to be a little more independent, so more flexible time. And once I got plugged into the Chapel Hill Tennis Club community and then the broader tennis community, I thought, oh, this is a gold mine here. I got to do more of this. And I'd never done USTA stuff before then. And once I started doing that, it was just a little reminder of what being on a team in college was like. And I just fell in love with the whole scene. I feel lucky to be here in the Triangle.
Yeah, I love the team. That's the thing I missed about high school tennis. I love the team aspects. That's why I really like you. I really like playing. Even if my teams aren't good, I still like to go out and watch and have fun and hang out with guys after.
Yeah, especially states. We joke that in college
Yeah.
we would do tournaments, we all hang out together and we just think about tennis. Now our states trips are like who packed the Advil, who packed the yoga mat. It's like how are we going to keep our bodies together? But as long as we can get out there somehow and play, we're going to keep doing it.
So we're going to get into this later in the episode. I think there's some differences between 18 plus and 40 plus leagues. Do we think the level of preparation at states varies for the 40 plus folks and is a little bit more body conscious?
Zach, in an episode of TTP about 6 months ago, did you say
Oh God, he's got receipts.
did you say that those guys in 40 plus have like wisdom and lived experience? Was that the backhanded compliment that I heard?
I think it was a full-on compliment, but maybe a touch of the backhand there.
We'll get back into this, but after we clinched states against a team that on average is about 10 years younger than we are, they kept telling us what an inspiration we are. They hope they can play like this when they're our age. And so everybody means well, but these things come off as just a little ageist some of the time. 40 plus and 18 plus. I will say that a lot of us, the older we get, we don't love playing on hard courts. We have more injuries to deal with.
Yeah.
But a lot of us do play 18 plus, and we try not to give away free points. Sometimes the 18 plus guys go for it a little too much, but we're hanging in there. Some of our guys, I know you guys know Alexei Maklikov, great player. That guy's playing on 55 plus this year. And so
that's unfair.
Yeah,
that's
just not. And so there is no reason we can't keep doing this. When we get as old as Alexei is, I'll be there in a couple of years.
Let the record reflect that y'all are like minimum 30 years away from being in inspirational territory. Jimmy Washington, that's a guy who's an inspiration, an over 80s champion. Like, he's getting out on the courts in 85-degree weather in sweatpants and a track jacket and giving somebody the work and just slicing them to death in his early 80s. That, to me, is like the dream.
Yeah. How far away are you from 40 plus? Can I ask that, Zach?
Yeah. So I'm 33 now, 34 in January. We might have to cut this because I've been looking to get a fake
Yeah.
ID that says I'm like 39. So next year maybe I can get on a team. I get FOMO from the 40 plus leagues.
I do.
It seems like it's a ton of fun.
It is a ton of fun. I will say some of the worst sort of arguments in sportsmanship I've seen have been in 18 plus. I think when you get to 40 plus,
Yeah.
everybody's been there, done that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're just here to play good tennis. So I like that aspect of it. I mean, usually 40 plus matches, 18 plus matches also, but usually they end with everybody having a beer together. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
I will say the most intense match I've ever seen was a men's 55 plus 3-0 consolation finals at the Chapel Hill Tennis Club a few years back. And I think that's the sweet spot where maybe some guys, they're not actively trying to make bad calls, but like our vision gets worse as we get older. And there are definitely some moments at 55 plus that were entertaining.
For sure. Yeah. And the night matches get harder the older you get, I got to say.
Yeah.
But you adjust. You do what you got to do to keep playing.
That's something we've talked about on a few episodes. It gets harder. The night matches get harder as you get older, but also the quality of lights in Durham it's got a reputation as having the worst in the triangle. Cary, Raleigh, Cary in particular is excellent. Raleigh's pretty good. Chapel Hill, it seems to be it's more club based, and their lights are really good. And so Durham has these amazing players, this great league, but a quality of public court that right now doesn't reflect the level of play.
That's right.
And the size of the community.
I know your new position and you're you're trying to improve some of the court services in Durham, but if you can also upgrade the lights, I think everybody would appreciate that.
The lights honestly might be a better bet right now because it's really a bummer. Inocta was able to purchase some new brooms and sweepers for courts, and they got vandalized pretty darn quickly. Lights, you got to get a ladder out to vandalize
that's
those.
a little
so that's
tougher.
good. Yeah.
I'd love to see. Funny story. Liam, if you guys know him, very friends with John Hankinson, great doubles player. He had never visited the Elmira bathrooms before. Gabriel, have you been in the Elmira bathroom before?
I went in the Myler bathroom at 10 p.m. one night, and the door jammed shut, and I had trouble opening it. And I thought, all they're going to find is my skeleton here tomorrow morning. It's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Should we bring up? Okay, yeah. So I finished.
I was just gonna say, poor Lee
Yeah.
had never been in the Elmira bathroom before, and he comes out and he just looks shell shocked.
We did have a debate many episodes ago about which triangle area public court bathrooms, if you had to get stranded overnight, would you like to get stranded in? And I think it was one of the Cary facilities.
McCrimmon's beautiful.
McCrimmon.
The floor is immaculate. I mean, they probably have Wi-Fi. It's amazing.
Yeah. So we'll ask the same question now to you. Which bathroom, if you had to be, it sounds like not Elmira, if you're going to be stranded overnight in a triangle area tennis bathroom, where would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the courts as well as you guys do, but I would probably just use the wooded area around the courts rather than go back into that Elmira bathroom.
This is not an endorsement of just sleeping in the woods, but maybe it is a little bit. I don't know.
Getting back to the lights issue, we upgraded the light. We upgraded the lights at Chapel Hill, and I was shocked at how expensive that is. So that's actually really tough to do.
Why is that? We should have on somebody who's like an electrical engineer and explain why it costs so much. 'Cause it feels like it shouldn't be that expensive. And I think the number I heard was $20,000 roughly to upgrade.
I got
lights.
the number from Gabriel, so he's
No,
gonna.
I multiply that by 4 for a bank of 6 courts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should get somebody else on. But I heard that the savings in electricity costs to go into those LED lights, they'll pay for themselves in 10 years or something like that. So it's a worthwhile upgrade, but it's just really expensive to do.
Yeah, yeah. So how would you, kind of shifting gears here, how would you describe your play style? What does a standard game look like for you?
Good question. I learned tennis with a wooden racket in the 70s when the game was completely different. And so I've spent the past 5 years trying to undo all of that and try to have a slightly more modern game. Zach, I regret that my backhand isn't like yours. I learned to slice way too much, but I'm primarily a doubles player. I love playing doubles, play some singles as well. And my nickname and my college team was the Professor. I try to figure out what's going on in the court, try to diagnose it, because I'm not going to win because of my athleticism. I maybe going to win because I try to figure out what the other guy doesn't like to do.
Questions, great slice. And in my experience, the slice typically plays better on hard courts, but you prefer clay. Do you find the slices translate into clay, and do you make any adjustments from surface to surface?
So I think you can survive with the slice backhand if your forehand can do some damage. The problem with the slice, and the reason I'm so many thousands of dollars in the hole to Todd, the instructor out of Chapel Hill, is the slice return in doubles kills you.
Oh
It
my
just is.
God,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
It
Oh, it
sits up and the
sucks.
net guy eats it alive. And so that is the real problem with the slice. So for you doubles players out there, you got to get a flat or a topspin backhand return because otherwise you're never going to be a real 4-5 doubles player with a slice return.
It's really hard. Zach, you have a good lob, and I end up just lobbing whenever I get it. But yeah, it's really hard with the slice backhand return to get it by the net guy, unless you go over their head.
The lob is something that's been reliable for me. I am finding, though, as I am playing more 4-5 and 5-0 matches, that players are better at that north-south movement. And especially the lob I hit, it tends to be a real blooper. It's a touch lob. There's no spin on it. Like, it's just going straight up. And some of these better players, the Ezras of the world, they move back in time, and they just crank an overhead on lobs that I feel pretty good about. And that strikes me as demoralizing, is when you hit a slice backhand that you feel good about and somebody just bops it.
Yeah.
So how is your foray into 5-0 going this year, guys? Do you have some wins?
Matt, what do we think? What do we think?
I got a set, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
It was very up and down. I had some really, ones where I was, almost in tears after it was such a bad beatdown and not fun. And then I had some really fun ones. And then we got a set the other day, and it was good. We lost maybe 10-7 in the tiebreak, so
Wow.
So it ended well. And Zach, you got a win. That was exciting.
A couple, and so I think last year it was like the goal was don't get embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
And did not achieve that goal, including against the CHTC team that gave the most merciless, hilarious beatdown. I made a mistake of swing visioning it, and I checked the stats, and we won. It was either 1 or 2 points on their serve the entire match. It was 6-0, 6-0 does not reflect how much better they were than us on that day. And yeah, that you witnessed
I was there.
We talked
It was
about
awful.
It, yeah.
It was awful. It was awful.
This year, nothing like that, at least, and so that's a win. I don't think that we're under any illusions that we'll ever be top half players. I think that we can maybe steal a win or two a season, and honestly, that's incredible and
awesome,
very satisfying.
I hear that Matt is a solid 5-0 player for the first set.
Yeah. As the heat goes up, that number goes down. So now it's 2 games. I'm really good.
I find at 2-1 or 2-all in the second set, that's when I have to start playing a fundamentally different game because my body's not holding up in this weather.
No.
And I think there's stuff that we can do to address that, but I don't know that it's going to happen. Maybe, Matt, maybe this will be our year. Famously, having a kid makes it easier to get in better shape.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Speaking of kids, let's just address the allegations, the rumors. Do we think that having a son or hitting partner as good as Noah should count as a performance-enhancing drug? Yes or no?
I do, because
Yeah.
when Noah started taking tennis seriously about 4 years ago in his game, he started working with Che out at Chapel Hill, who's now at Hollow Rock. And I was stuck with my 70s game, and I was trying to hit with him. And at one point, he said to me in a totally appropriate, respectful way, he's, "Dad, if we're going to keep hitting, you gotta get a real forehand because this is just not doing anything for me."
Amazing.
And I thought, "I'm too old. I can't do this." And he said, "No, you can do this." And that was the motivation to be able to hit with your son will get you to do just about anything. So that was a big help to my game. Yeah, he's playing D3 college tennis now. The guy's playing awesome tennis. Zach, you and he had just a glorious match last summer out in the heat. Was that Elmira also, or was that Garrett Road?
It was, and it's funny. I think it was really clear that he was a better tennis player and a better athlete, and not to pick on Noah, but he also was 18 or 19 years old. The brain you know this better than anybody, the brain is not done forming yet, so I was able to throw some, what he would probably consider old man ball at him to steal a few points here and there. And
No, you guys went 3
satisfying.
sets, and then I remember the heat got the best of you. And just to illustrate, going back to your question about age differences,
Yeah.
he always thinks that he didn't play great that match, and he came off that match and he said, "Oh, I'd rather lose a match and play well than squeak out a win and play badly." And I said to him, "I would rather win the match no matter what you're talking about."
Yeah.
But you taught him a lot about patience, and he felt good that he outlasted you. And I don't know, I can't remember what teams you're on this summer, but I hope there might be a rematch.
Ooh, I'd love to do it, whether it's USTA or just for fun, because
Yeah,
it was a real treat playing against him. I found, and I'm curious kind of what y'all think about this, that whenever I play badly in my 30s, now my kind of default stance is, oh, the other guy did something that made me play badly, or he did something that I didn't adjust to, which is why it felt like I was playing badly, not like I suck at tennis, I'm bad at this. And that kind of shift has made it easier to lose, feel okay about it, and then make adjustments for the next time. Is that how y'all think about playing badly, or do you view it a little differently, Matt?
That's a you thing. That's a Zack. I'm going to talk myself into this politician thing.
What do you, when you're playing badly, Matt, what do you tell yourself? Or what's going through that noggin of yours?
I'm fat, and that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. I'm out of shape and fat, and, like, I have chosen to not do what I need to do to lose weight, so it is what it is.
Let's dig in on this, though, right? So, okay, let's imagine what you're saying is true, and I think that you're being harsh on yourself, Matt. But the other guys identified that you don't move as well as maybe you would like to, and they're strategically trying to make you run. There's adjustments you can make. You can stand in closer. You can rush the net. There are counters to your alleged fatness that you can do.
Yeah, and I try those, but I'm not as good at those. So they make me they make me go to plan B and C, which is like serve and volley or drop shot or hit hard, and I'm not going to win a ton of matches doing a bunch of that.
Matt, playing you is a great litmus test to see if somebody can problem solve, because you have a unique, tricky game. And the first time I saw it, I just thought, what the hell do I do against this? Because I've never seen a serve like that. And then your ground strokes bounce within a foot of the baseline, heavy spin. It's tricky. It's really tricky.
If it's under 85, then I'm a tricky player. Once it gets past 90 and 100, it's not that hard. Just move me around a little bit.
That being said, if it's under 32, Matt might be the best player in the triangle. Cold weather Matt is a different beast. It's unfair.
Yeah, it really is, because it's like being in air conditioning the whole time. So it just cools me down. I definitely am a cold weather player.
So do you guys play year round outside, or do you guys have some indoor courts you use?
I think typically take decent chunk of December and January off for me. But other than that, last year was a weird year because I was abroad for the bulk of January, and it was warm weather there, and so got the chance to play a few times. I Matt, maybe your arm holds up better. I need like a 4 to 6 week off season to let my shoulder heal up, because by that point it's sore. What Matt? What's your kind of?
I'll play year round. I'll play less in the winter because I can't get people to play with me. But I played the Snow Bowl with Stuart last year. We literally got snowed out of the court.
You get snowed out of the Snow Bowl?
We got snowed out. We couldn't play anymore. It was too much snow on the court.
You couldn't play or shouldn't play?
Shouldn't. You couldn't see the lines. I think it's a couldn't. Yeah. We have a picture, and I played Chris Giordano one time. And the ball, we just kept drop shotting each other because the ball just wouldn't bounce on that clay. It was just drop shot. It was like 30 out.
So Gabriel, this can be, I think, a good segue to the next segment here. Do you and the CHTC team play year round? How do y'all typically prepare for the spring season? What does a normal year look like?
Yeah, I can't take 6 weeks off. If I take 48 hours off, I get really shaky and nervous. So I have to figure out a way to keep going. We got the indoor courts at Chapel Hill. Those courts are really fast. And for those of us that don't love hard courts, not ideal. Zach, after you get outdoor clay courts in Durham, you can get us some indoor clay courts somewhere. Put that on your list. Raleigh Racquet Club is above my income bracket, so we can't go up there. Old Forest has some indoor clay, but clay is a generous word for what that surface is. It's more like kitty litter, right? I don't really know what that is.
I haven't been out there before. I know the red clay is interesting at Raleigh Racquet Club.
I've never played brushed,
on it. It's brushed carpet with red clay. It's a strange surface, but a ton of fun, I think. Matt.
All right. Maybe one of you can invite me or figure out. I want to try that out. And then at Chapel Hill, where Matt's a member, one of our banks of court is this different kind of clay that's really dry and dries really fast, right? 7 through 12. So as long as it doesn't dip below freezing for too long at night, those courts are going to be playable. So if it's above 33, I'm out there.
You touched on something, and it's a topic that's really sweeping the nation right now, which is public clay courts. And I'm so curious, when you hear the idea of public clay tossed around, does it sound crazy to you? Is that something that you would like to see? Does it feel unachievable? Tell us your thoughts on public clay.
I would invest in that with you. We have to make that happen, right? We have this community of tennis players who would pony up a few $100s a winter just to have access to them for a couple months. So let's make it happen.
Matt humored me the other day and listened to me rant about public play during several changeovers of a match we were playing. Matt, are you coming around at all on the idea? Do you think does it feel more realistic after continually being harangued by me about this?
That's how you got this podcast done. So he literally just kept saying it, and I was so annoyed. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
There's a national political figure that seems to be their approach of just say the same thing over and over again, and sometimes it happens, and it can work for good stuff and bad stuff, without naming names. On that note, let's get into plugs. We've got some great stuff to plug here. Matt, start us off. What are you plugging today?
I'm plugging the taint tickler.
The what? Excuse me. The what? The what tickler?
The taint tickler.
I'm so glad I'm on this episode.
So
Send it to your work colleagues for sure.
That's right.
this is a tri-stool. Tyler Carroll calls it a taint tickler, so I like to call it that as well. So it's like a tri-stool that you can sit on, that you can bring with you. And so when you're out at the public courts at Elmira, Garrett, all those other places, and there's no place to sit, and it fits in your bag, it's actually, I've found it very useful. Or if you're watching your friends and there's no place to sit, you bring it out and you can find a place to sit anywhere. So it's a very useful device, and it fits in the bag.
Interesting. There's one other quick Tyler Carroll related thing we have to plug. So several of us, Gabriel, you might know, have Swing Vision. Very much enjoy that. And Tyler, after hitting a winner every now and then, will just look at his Apple Watch and just favorite that point in real time. And I think we're going to be calling that move the Tyler. It's one that many of the Swing Vision users will do, but there's a humor and a levity to it when Tyler does it that I think is really endearing, but every now and then demoralizing in a match. So that will be forever known as the Tyler on this pod.
All right.
And with that,
Does your Swing Vision have the same glitch that mine has, that it makes me look really slow, really bald?
Yeah.
And just when I'm out there on the court, I think this is going pretty well. And then I watch the video and I think, who is that guy?
the angle is the least flattering hairline angle that exists on planet Earth. Like look, is my hairline what it was when I was 19 years old? Hey, maybe not. But like the angle at the top of the crown of my head is so hurtful to look at. It's like distracting in the matches sometimes. Matt is laughing because he can't relate.
I don't have that. I mean, I have the problem of, that's why I stopped doing it, because I just didn't believe it. I was like, I don't look like that. I don't look like that.
And it makes the shots look slow. Everything looks slow.
There's something wrong with it.
Those points where you're like, wow, I was really moving. Like I really dialed it back, turned back the clock to 2010 there. And then you watch the clip and you're moving in slow motion I think everybody should do it though, because you watch the pros and every now and then maybe you convince yourself you're closer to that level than you actually are. You watch your Swing Vision and it removes any doubt.
Yeah, no, I think it's good in doubles to look at spacing and how you guys are moving together.
Yeah.
It's also fun if you have a highlight point in a Hollow Rock tournament. I hit between the leg volley, and my first thought was, why weren't we Swing Visioning this? So you just want to have those highlights in your back pocket.
It is funny, like what you learn from the stats in them, because for me, what I've noticed is if my first serve is going in at a high clip, I tend to win the match. If it's not, I tend to lose more often than I'd expect. And like it's that one little thing is so informative. It's really cool tech. With that, we're not here to plug Swing Vision, although maybe we are. Gabriel, what are you plugging today?
I'm plugging. Have you guys used this Carpe hand cream to keep your hands dry in the hot summer months? Somebody showed me this at States, and that stuff just works. So that's a staple for your tennis bag. You got to get some.
Say that again for us, because this is something that is of great interest, I think, to many players.
It's called Carpe, like Carpe Diem, CARPE. I have no financial tie to this company, but that stuff just works.
Okay. I think I'm going to put that in my Amazon cart after this episode. Yeah.
Great.
I have the liquid chalk, and I think it's doing the same thing. That is the best thing in my bag other than my racket. I would 100% agree.
We also have no financial stake in this, but if a Carpe rep is listening to this episode and sends it to us, we will hawk it shamelessly.
Let's do it.
It doesn't even have to be that good of a product, whatever. The thing that I'm going to plug today is voting in municipal elections. I don't care who you vote for. You should care who you vote for. But it is a thing in the world that matters, and it has more direct of an impact on your life than you might realize. There is one path to public clay, and it is municipal elected officials deciding that it is a reasonable budgetary request or demand or suggestion, and that's only going to happen if people are voting from the tennis community. And I presume that people have other issues they care about too beyond public play, but it's just a thing that's got to happen if we're gonna get these things that we would like, and that I would say that we as a community deserve. Kerry just spent $67 million on a new park. I see Instagram ads for it every day. Public play is a lot less than that. Anyway, Bubba Clay, that's enough of that. Let's talk about this CHTC team.
Do it.
Dichter.
Let's do it.
This is not the first time this team has made a deep run. So why don't you start us
Yeah.
off with a little bit of history? How did this team
Yeah.
come to be?
Exactly. I was thinking about how to tell you guys this story, and I think I want to start at a Rocky sequel movie where you start with a montage from the end of the previous movie. Okay, so let's go back to 2023. A group of guys from Chapel Hill Tennis Club put a team together. We win states. Unexpectedly, we go to Auburn and we somehow win sectionals. And then we head out to San Diego to play nationals. We get to the last match of pool play at 3-0, and we miss out making the semifinals by one line against the Philadelphia team that won it. So it was a dream season, a
Wow.
ton of fun, just a ton of fun. But we got a little taste and we came pretty close, and we just thought we need a little more. We really want to try to run this back. At the end of the 23 season, a few guys got bumped. Chris Giordano, Dan Clemson, Ty Bullard all got bumped. There's this obscure USTA rule that if you go to nationals, you no more than three guys from that team can be on the same team in the same flight the next year. So we couldn't run it back. We spent 2024 toiling around in 18 plus, a little tri-level. Robin had a team out of Chapel Hill that did really well in 8-5 combo in Wilmington. Our eyes were really firmly on 2025 to try to run it back. Meanwhile, in 24, this is going to be relevant in a couple minutes. A team out of Cary won states in North Carolina. All right. So just put a pin in that. So then December rolls around. What do you guys call the day when the USTA ratings come out? Is that bump day or ratings day, or do you have a name
Yeah,
for
like
it?
bump day, I think.
Bump day.
Bump
Yeah.
day. All right.
It should
Yeah,
be a
that's
national holiday, by the way.
it really
Right?
should. It really
Yeah,
should. Yeah, we all have that circled on our calendar. We wake up far too early, hitting refresh. And all I'm thinking is, please don't get bumped. Please don't get bumped. Because as soon as you get bumped, you eliminate 50% of your tennis options, right? You can always play up, but you can't play down. And disaster, right? I get bumped, Alexi gets bumped, and I just think the chances of running this back just disappeared. But we're all on the group chat and everybody's saying the same thing: appeal, appeal. And so we all click that button and it all works out. I appealed, Alexi appealed, Dan and Giordano and Ty wind up at 4-0. Scott Benson, that guy is a solid 4-5, like a solid 4-5. Somehow his appeal goes through. So not only do we have the crew back together, we have and Scott as an added bonus. A couple new guys at the club, Zach Kozovsky and Mike Melsner, had expressed interest. So we have the same team plus even better guys. So I think, all right, we're going to run this back. 2025 regular season goes pretty well. A little hiccup against Jermaine Bird's team, but we right the ship. We finish whatever 8-1, and we're going to go to states. Now, one wrinkle along the way, this relates back to that Cary team, is one of the guys on our team, Matt, I think you know Ashu Honda,
Yeah.
great guy at Chapel Hill, also UNC prof. He is not only in our team, but he's on also the team from Cary. He knows a few of those guys. There's a team captained by, I'm going to butcher this name, I apologize, a team captained by Deepak Jayashankaran. And he keeps telling us this Cary team, there's like this whole tennis community of 40 plus guys in Cary that are just great guys, love tennis, and really good and really tricky. And he said, you guys are probably going to see this team at states. Lo and behold, they win Cary, we win Eno, and we know that we're going to have this tough competition from this Cary team. Ashu is on both teams, and so he has to choose sides. So he decides to play on our team. He gets kicked off the group chat from that team. And
Fair.
so yeah, it is fair. And we head to Hickory, and I'm thinking it would be nice if in pool play we don't have to play those guys. And the scheduling gods just laughed at that and put them as our very first match in Hickory. We're facing them on Thursday morning. And Zach, we often quote you that the most important ability in USTA is availability.
Oh,
So for
I'm getting
We
too
gotta-
much credit. That's Max
That's Max
Gregson.
Gregson.
that's
Oh,
Max-
yeah.
That's Max
okay.
Gregson.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right.
We stole it from Max, but
He
yeah,
did.
we'll take it.
Yeah.
Truer words were never spoken. So that
Yeah.
Thursday morning match, it's not clear who we can get. A couple guys have to drive up early that morning, the old wake up at 4:30 to be
Ooh.
ready to play a match in Hickory at 9 a.m. Not optimal tennis conditions. One of our guys, Mike, has pulled his calf, so we're down a man. So we play this Cary team. First match, Alexi and I actually lose to this tricky team 12-10 in a match break, but everybody else pulls their weight. Scott Benson has a great win against Sri Vilanki. Our hard-hitting doubles team of Dan Clemson and Ty Bullard. When Dan hits a forehand, you can hear that thing 6 courts away, right? And so they win their match. Chris Giordano and Reed Brenneman take care of business. They win their match. And Ashu was playing with Zack, and so now Ashu was playing against his buddies from Kerry, and so he said mentally that was just a brutal match for him, but he pulls it out. So we somehow beat this Kerry team. We win the next two matches handily. So here is an ethical moral dilemma I have for your listeners. If you were 3-0 going into the last match in pool play and you had the opportunity to not only clinch the one seed for your team, but maybe if you dropped a couple lines, the tie breaks would shake out in a way that your biggest competitor might not make the playoffs. Would you try to
Ooh.
make that happen somehow? I'm not going to say that we did or did not, but I am just going to urge your listeners out there who are USTA captains to think about the scenario and talk about it with your teammates because this was a real wedge in the team. Because we,
Yeah.
we realized we could try to do this, and half of the guys thought that's not in the spirit of competition. We're here to play tennis. And the other half of the guys thought, actually, we're here to win states, and you better
Yeah.
believe that somebody else would do this. And do you guys have like an opinion on that?
We have so many opinions on this podcast. For me, morally, that no qualms whatsoever. Do what is best. Do what is best for the team. If it's not in the spirit of competition. If the spirit of competition is not in the rules, that's somebody else's fault, not yours, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
However, while I'm morally unopposed, for me, I think I would just focus on winning out because I worry about sometimes trying to get too cute. The team that I was on that was the closest to going to states, this was a summer singles team helmed. I forget who was helmed by, but we like stacked the lineup in a way that we thought would give us a better shot to win a match, and it totally backfired. We lost a match that was winnable, and that sort of informs my thinking. That is just go out and win because I don't have confidence in my abilities or the team's abilities necessarily to get that stuff quite right. Matt,
Right.
what about you?
I prefer to just go out there and play, but if there ever was a place to do this, states would be this. I
Right.
really don't like it when guys do it in just general league matches and they throw matches because they don't like their rating. That really pisses me off. But I think if there was a discussion to have, it would be here. I prefer just you could also go out and I've had a couple singles matches where it's like I am not going to hit more than 4 balls, and so maybe I could have done better, maybe I could have won, but it was 105 and that's what's going to happen today. So you can also go out with that kind of attitude of we're gonna do something a little different.
Let's talk about that though, because as a captain, the team is split on something, and I'd imagine at that stage of things, everyone's also got a strong opinion. How do you navigate that? How do you get everybody on the same page?
We should have, and we try to talk about everything way ahead of time, but this scenario just fell in our lap the night before, and we were in two separate houses, so it was just a lot of text messages. And so it was a little rushed. And of course, everybody went out to win the match, but there was the option once we won 3 out of the 5 lines to just pull the other matches. So not to sandbag it and not to do.
Oh, that's a different scenario. I could see if you're like pulling a match because you want to conserve energy or something. That I can get behind. If you're like, yep, we already won. I'm toast. It's
Or
110 degrees.
that's right. Or if you only have 9 guys there, you don't want
Yeah,
somebody to twist an ankle in a
exactly.
meaningless
Yeah.
match. So anyway, just that's something to think about because that does come up at states. It wound up not mattering. Not mattering. We were the 1 seed in the playoffs. The Kerry team wound up being the 2 seed. That's the way it should be. To be the best, you got to beat the best. We walked through our semifinals pretty easily, and then Sunday morning we had our finals match against this Kerry team. I want to just be clear: these Kerry guys, true to form, great guys, great sportsmen, tricky players, good spirit of competition, friendly text the whole weekend. We can't wait to play you guys. Hope we can go out to dinner after. It was just true 40 plus tennis. Everybody's just been awesome, right?
Yeah.
So I'm obsessing as I always do about the lineups. We think we have the lineups right. As soon as I submit the lineup in the app, if the other team is submitted, then you instantly see who your opponents are. And I immediately saw that I was going to play again the same team that had beaten me 12-10 in the match break, right? And I'd like to tell you that I'm such a competitor that I was psyched to see that, but in reality, your heart skips a beat because you're like, you don't want to be that guy who loses twice and disappoints your team. Fine, it is what it is. So here's how it shook out. It didn't happen chronologically like this, but I'll tell it like this just for the drama. So our singles guy was Scott Benson, and I got to say as a captain, at 4-0, when you have Scott Benson playing singles, you count on that. That's just going to be a win. That's just going to be a win. That guy, in his spare time, he runs marathons. You'd like him, Matt. You and he are both elite athletes. I think you'd really get along with him. And particularly when it's hot, his game plan when it's hot out is just make the match last longer, right? Because he's just such an endurance athlete. So I can only imagine what that must feel like because I'm the opposite. So he goes out, he plays Sri Valanki, who he had beaten 3 days before, and Sri just played a solid match and shockingly beat Scott. Scott had played a ton of tennis. That was his sixth match. Was overworked because we didn't have enough guys. Some of those were doubles, but it was too much tennis. So he drops his match. Dan
And how many
Clemson
days was that? That's 6 matches in 3 days.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, 3.5 days. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of tennis.
That's a lot of tennis. And Hickory, beautiful town. It was hot as heck. And that match started at 9:30. By the time it finished close to noon, it was in the upper 90s. So it was brutal conditions.
Yeah.
Ty and Dan played a great match, went to a match break, and the match break is a coin flip, and that one didn't go their way. So we're down 2 lines. Chris Giordano and Reed Brenneman just took care of business again. They won in straights. Nathan played with Alexi. Those guys went to a match break. I remember turning when their match break was starting, and I saw Alexi hit a trademark flat forehand return on a rope. Just no arc to the ball, clears the net by an inch. You can read pen 3 as the ball is going across the net, and it almost knocks the racket out of the opponent's hand. When I see Alexi hitting that return, I know he's feeling it, and they're going to win. And it was like 10-3 or 10-4, so they won their match break. And so it came down ultimately Zach and me playing those guys that had beaten me and that are really tricky. We dialed in. We won the first set 6-4. We often quote on our team parables and truisms from Brad Gilbert's book Winning Ugly. I don't know if that's on your bookshelf, but that's a classic. And he has a line in there that the most important game of the match is the first game of the second set. The team that won it has an automatic letdown, and the team that lost it resets, and they're going to be all in. And so I turned to Zach and I said, this is the most important game. We have to keep the pressure on. We have to keep being aggressive. We can't let up. It turned out that just saying that doesn't prevent it from happening, right? And I still haven't figured out how to make that happen. So we got down love 4 in the second set before I knew what happened. Battle back, long game at 4-5. We break him to get to 5-all. We lose the set. So we go to a match tie break. I can't tell you what happened in the match tie break because it's all kind of a blur at this point. But I'm serving at 9-8, and I just think, keep your head up and snap your wrist.
Yeah.
Kicked it out to the backhand. He shanked it. And so we won the match, and we won 3-2 with 3 of the matches going to a match tiebreak.
Wow.
We won 2 of those. So we won by 2 points essentially. And I want to be clear afterwards, the Kerry guys, true to form, hugs, congratulations. You're an inspiration at your age. Say all the nice things, all the right things. We're going to keep playing them in the off season. We feel like we made a bunch of new friends. But we're going to Rome, Georgia in a month to try our hand at sectionals and see if we can't keep this thing going.
Wow. What a run that this team has had these last 3 years.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess if y'all succeed at sectionals and advance to nationals, that's yet another huge achievement for this team. But there's also the realization of the letdown that breaks the team up again for 2026, yeah?
I think if you look at tennis record, that's probably going to happen. Yeah, I think we get it. This is our window. It's now or never. Yeah. Whatever injuries guys have, whatever family obligations guys have, we're putting all that to the side because we are all in on this run right now.
It looks like Zach, Dan, and Scott are pretty firmly over the bump line. You and Alexi are over the bump line according to tennis record, but close.
Scott has to be over.
Scott has to be.
Yeah. And so, this is one more run for the team. So
Absolutely.
In Rome, are y'all going to do one big group house? Are you going to do you guys do hotels? What's the culture for this?
Oh, yeah. The best part about postseason play is getting the group house and living together. And we have a couple chefs, Ashu and Nathan, cook up these amazing meals when we all hang out together, grilling steaks, and Alexi brings like a case of wine with him. We'll do that again. In a town like Rome, you can get a pretty nice house for a little bit of money. So I think we're gonna have a good time.
I didn't know that about Alexi, but it feels true. The truthiness of that statement is off the charts.
Yeah. That's right. He would bring wine out onto the court if he could. And true to form, no matter how much wine he's had, no matter how little he's played, that guy just gets out on the court and is just always dialed in, and nothing affects him.
I love it. Wow, I'm still just getting talk about the redemption of that tiebreaker win over the team that you had just beaten or just gotten beaten by 3 days before. That's pretty special.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And we always say that we don't have a number one doubles line. We have 1A, 1B, 1C,
Yeah.
1D. And we feel like any of our lines can win against anybody. And our strength is our depth. And this flight had always been 4 lines. And now that they moved it to 5 lines, just psychologically, I love that because when you're out on the court and maybe things aren't going so well, just to know that you've got 4 other lines of guys that you go to battle with that probably are going to pull through, it just takes the pressure off of you. And it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun.
In 2023, there were a couple of joint training sessions where the East End boys brought out
Yes,
some high
yes.
4.0s and 4.5s to Chapel Hill, and I think y'all came out to Durham once.
Mm.
Just want to extend the offer.
Let's do it.
For me and maybe for Matt. I think
Yeah.
we'd love. I mean, it would be really fun to help y'all train again.
If you're willing to drive the 25 minutes, I hear
Yeah.
you don't love that drive. So maybe
a
we
little
can do something
baby.
to entice you. We'll buy you lunch or something, but come out to the plush environment of Chapel Hill Tennis
Okay.
Club and we'll have a fun afternoon.
I have visions of a 15-minute walkable city, and anything
Mm.
outside of that is not consistent with that vision. But for y'all, we'll make that exception. Also, my parents live in Chapel Hill, so it gives me an
Yeah.
excuse to pop by and say hello.
I
Matt, what do
love
we
it.
think? Should we do it?
Of course. I'm there all the time. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So is Rome, are sectionals on hard courts or clay?
It's all hard court. Auburn was mostly clay. This year, it's all hard court.
Mhm.
Really regrettable. And the older I get, I start to appreciate that there are different kinds of hard court. Some is
Yeah.
pure asphalt, and that's just tough on the body. Like at Nationals at the USTA campus in San Diego, that was like the US Open, like soft hard court, and that feels on. And for your body, that feels like clay. I could play on that all day, but in Hickory and Rome, it's just that 100% asphalt. So it's just load up on the
Yeah.
Advil, get out the yoga mat, and just do anything you can do to survive. And this Monday, I remember the podcast after Hollow Rock, you guys were talking about how sore everybody was that Monday because Alexei played
Oh,
24 sets that weekend or
it's
something crazy.
insane.
Yeah, and this Monday was the same. I was trying to walk from like the kitchen to the bedroom, and it took me half an hour. But when you win the match in the match break, you don't feel it. It's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
It's fine.
Doesn't
If you
matter.
lose it, it's just that much more painful. So a few days after hard court sectionals are going to be painful, but we're all in.
Hey, tell us what the USTA campus in San Diego is like. I don't think that we've had anybody on who's been before.
Nope.
It's like Field of Dreams or Bull Durham. The dirt. It's just like the tennis balls are new on every changeover. No, it's just it's the best part of those campuses is all the matches are always in one location, right? And they're
Yeah.
all going on all around you. So it's just there's a lot of tennis in the air. Nationals are amazing. They have a flag for every region. So there's a flag for its southern section. And I don't want to overstate it, but when you take a picture under the southern section and you know that a group of guys out of this little club in Chapel Hill are like representing the whole South, it's 4-0, whatever. It's really cool. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So there's a lot of pride in that. And like we didn't win, obviously, but like the winners get these like silver plates that you can display. It's not these little medals that we all have in our tennis bags. The swag is really gets upgraded. So whatever you have to do to manage your rating to try to get to nationals one year, I highly recommend it because it's really fantastic.
I think that maybe there's a world in which, with the birth of baby Archie here in October, that my level goes down, and I can appeal down to get one more run at 4.0.
Let's do it.
Because I'm 0 for 19. I've never been to States. I am a bad luck charm for anybody with aspirations of playing at States. If you put me on your team, it probably isn't happening. 0 for 19 is crazy.
A couple of things we did learn at nationals. First of all,
Yeah.
it turned out the team that won it in 23 from Philly had won it 2 years prior. And of course,
Oh.
we're digging. All those guys got bumped up, and then they spent a year doing exactly what Matt doesn't like. They spent a year managing their rating. They all got bumped down to win it again. What's the point? You won it once. You climbed
Yeah.
the mountain again. I don't really understand it. Also, this is more in 4-5 and 8-5, but even in 4-0, there are teams that pay ringers to be on their team.
On.
There's like from
Wow.
the next state over, there are people in North Carolina teams that have members from South Carolina and they just play 2 matches to qualify, like driving 3 hours each way to qualify, and have been paid like $500 to be on a team for a season. And what we really took pride in, our team was like 12 guys from the same local club. Some of these teams were like super teams with 28 guys from 3
Yeah.
states
Yeah.
around them. And it just felt particularly I don't know, satisfying that we were homegrown, everybody from the same
Yeah.
club, everybody buddies. We've all been invited to play on other teams with guys we don't know, and that's great. Going to states or sectionals with a group of guys you don't really know, I guess I would do it, but it's not the same as going with your crew, right? Your buddies and you've been
Yeah.
with there for years. That's what makes it feel like family. So that's what's great about this Chapel Hill group.
As an Inocta board member, I look at y'all's tennis record, and everybody is from within. No,
Yeah.
for the guys the furthest away is Dan Clemson from Mebane, which is part of and it's actually really unusual to see that. Almost every team that's got makings of a state's team, they've got somebody from Raleigh or
Yep.
Cary or maybe Greensboro, maybe Fayetteville sometimes, and so
Right.
it's unusual. But it really speaks to the talent at the club, but also I'd say the talent within Inocta. It's cool, and I think I'll speak for me. I feel a great sense of pride whenever we have a team from Durham and Chapel Hill that makes a run the way that y'all already have and are in the midst of. And so it's really cool.
It sounds like a bit of a plug for Chapel Hill Tennis Clubs, Matt. They've got the under 35 membership. We have no wait list. We're the little club that could.
Yeah.
So come and give us a try.
That's what drew me in. Yeah, I've been trying to get into Hollow Rock for 3 years, and I would rather go play tennis. And I think what's going to keep me at Chapel Hill Tennis Club, I think for maybe the first year I was on the fence, is if I get into Hollow Rock, I'll join there. But I think it's your guys' crew and how cool you guys are and how many things you guys have going on, like Friday dubs, different teams. So even if I got in, I'm still gonna make the drive out because I really like the atmosphere there and you guys.
We're just trying to equal the camaraderie of the East End boys or whatever you guys call yourselves.
Yep.
Hopefully we have that represented in Chapel Hill.
Do you all do merch? Because that I think is really taking the Easton Boys to the next level. We've got hats, we've got shirts, we've got sleeveless
do?
shirts.
For real?
Yeah.
We do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold on.
You'll see me wearing them sometimes.
I'm going to go grab the hat. I'll be back in 12 seconds while you guys chat.
Yeah, I have the tanks that I'll wear. I've been wearing when it's hot. I forget when we got those. We got tanks, we got long sleeves, short sleeves, and hats, I think.
All right. You bring some of them out to the club the next time we play.
Yeah.
I'll check them out because we definitely need something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
here's Zach. Oh,
Yep.
look at that.
Yeah.
Swanky.
Yeah.
Well done.
Mike Westlander is an exceptionally talented many things, one of which being graphic design, and so he put together a super snazzy logo with someone that we're calling Mystery Man Doug that no one's ever met.
No one knows.
Maybe is Mike's alter ego, but also allegedly helped Mike put together the logo, and so it's been fun. And, every time we do like new stuff, we'll have a certain amount of the buy go to a charity, typically Durham Parks and Recs Foundation, and so it's a good excuse to get a shirt that is basically your adult fraternity.
That's right. Well, this is good. You've given me a lot of ideas and more tennis stuff to spend money on. Just what we need.
Listen, we're almost at time. Thank you so much for coming on. You've been an unbelievable guest. We've got 1.5 more questions. One we've already touched on, so I'll bring this up just one more time. Do you support public clay courts?
1,000%. This is what this area needs. We need to make it happen. Believe me, you guys are going to turn 40 and 50 one day, and you're going to hope and wish that you had access to public clay courts. So let's make it happen.
Absolutely. Some people are calling it a social justice issue. So something to keep in mind. Matt, do you want to ask our closer? We haven't broken this out in a little
It's
bit.
been a while.
Yeah.
So when we have a guest, we like to ask, what does tennis mean to you, Gabriel?
Oh, tennis is everything. Tennis is family. Tennis is physical health. Tennis is mental health. It's your third space, right? You've got your family, you've got your job, and then you've got your tennis. And I have friends who think about leaving the area for jobs or personal reasons. And I just imagine leaving the tennis community that we have here is something that I would never consider if I can help it. We're very lucky to have what we all have.
Awesome.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you guys so much for another great episode of the Triangle Tennis Podcast, and have a great
My
night.
my bucket list is checked off. TTP. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I think we're gonna have to have you back on, by the way, once y'all get
For a
that win in
preview.
Rome,
Yeah,
and then
It's
and
a deal.
then the pre-nationals preview.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Perfect. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thanks. Bye.
All right.